Hello, this is Radhaa at Galactic Goddess Podcast, and I just wanted to do a little episode about the importance of breaking down to breaking through. I think it's so important because, at this current time and this pivotal time that we're in, it seems like there's such a big breakdown for people in various ways in their lives, in their worlds, in their beliefs, and in the world outside as well. And so, a lot of people ask me, like, why does it seem like things are getting worse when, it should be getting better? And I'm talking about, like, collectively, like in the world, and I would say because there is an old archaic energy, an old archaic system and a setup that is starting to dissolve. It's starting to break down, and it has everything to do with each individual personally, because we are all part of this grid together. We are all in this together in a way. We're not separate at all, because every thought, every feeling, every emotion, every belief that each individual carries contributes and weighs in on the collective consciousness, okay? So you may think you're at home and you don't have any influence on anything, but that's just not true. Your individual consciousness and what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're giving your attention to directly affects everyone else. That's how powerful you are. Now, as far as the individual breakdowns that people go through and what that's about, a lot of people are maybe they're having a job issue, or they're having to move someplace, or there's a sudden shift or change in their life that was unexpected, right? And it can seem like the world is falling apart, but really we're being asked to realign to our individual highest and best good. And that goes back to trusting and having faith that there's reason, because maybe your skill set, wasn't right at that job, or your life purpose wasn't aligned with that job, right? So things can feel very tragic in the moment, but really it's like trying to lead you, not just trying, it is leading you to the next level of you, And so anything that's not aligned to that next level of you, that higher vibrational version of you, whether that be a relationship, a job, a location, maybe some friendships, you're going to see things falling away. And it can be scary, especially if you're used to routine, or you're used to having certain people in your life, and all of a sudden it's like these things that you were so attached to are gone, or maybe they've shifted out of your vibration. people ask me about this all the time. Like, what do I do? Why does it feel like I've been going on my healing path, or I've been, just waking up or feeling more conscious, but all of a sudden it feels like everything's imploding, And so it's a cathartic change. It's the dark night of the soul, gets such a bad rap, and I really think that it's one of the greatest gifts that we can go through. When I was going through my health crisis and my world was falling apart on the inside, and I was really, so sick that I was really near a death's doorstep, and there wasn't any answer out there for me. And I thought, okay, you know what? I totally give up, because if I can tell if I don't get better, I'm definitely not going to be here. And then all of a sudden, I got an answer. I got an answer. I figured out what it was, because I was like, okay, universe, like, this is it. I'm in total surrender right now. There's nothing I can do to force or control or manipulate the situation to improve. I better just surrender. And I think that's a really important key component to breakdowns, right? Is part of it is the egoic death that accompanies these cathartic breakdowns. So of course my egoic death was, I'm not going to be this person that everybody thought anymore, I'm not going to be this curvy model. I'm not going to be, whatever. I don't know. You get attached, or people get attached to who they think you are. And if it's not serving you and your very highest and best good, we can get attached to our job titles, to certain attributes about us physically, people in our life that we think brings us status, whatever that may be. And if it's an illusion, if it's really, really not serving your highest soul calling, guess what? It's going to get snatched out of your world. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. It's just, it happens all the time. I see it. And it's happened to me. And guess what? It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because when I came through on the other side of that journey of a lifetime, I got back so many more pieces of myself and so many more pieces of the puzzle, and the wholeness that comes after the breakdown is the heavenly breakthrough. It's so delicious and so exciting, because what I find and what I see with clients is like the cathartic breakdown is a way to break the shell that binds us, right, in certain ways, from receiving more higher information, from connecting to the divine, to being with our true divine love, to being more healthy, more happy, more wealthy, whatever that is that our soul is calling for. It starts to like clear the blocks. We may have blocks we don't know about, right? Being a human is such an interesting and complex thing. We are like computer systems in many ways, where we have just tons and tons and tons of data, and it's running through our system. A lot of that data is totally garbage and worthless, and then some of it is actually harmful. It runs in our system almost like a self-sabotage program. Of course, there are other positive programs, but when you're getting to a place where you're having a breakdown, It's like all systems are going down, right? And what's going on is your computer, your inner computer is wanting to reboot it wants to redesign itself. Because we are humans of design, divine design. And every one of us, sometimes we're going to need an internal reboot and a redesign. It's not exactly what I would call a redesign. It's more like clearing out and the malware in there so that we can open up more space, right? So it can run faster, better, and you're going to get what you need instead of having to wait, twice as long because there's so much junk in there. So the system is asking us, and sometimes we're too busy with life. We don't see or hear, or we don't want to hear, that subconscious mind, those subconscious thoughts thinking like, hey, I need an upgrade over here. So boom, it happens, right? And of course, in the moment, it's terrifying, it's scary, you can feel hopeless, you can feel depressed, all those human emotions that come when you feel like things aren't working. And sometimes things aren't meant to work. So, like, when there is that breakdown process, I would say, like, it's important to feel. It's important to explore. But, you don't ever want to get to a place where you feel so hopeless that you don't want to go on, You don't want to do that. You want to reach out to somebody and, connect, or and it's usually the places that we're the most vulnerable, when we feel like all is lost, that we don't want to connect. I know, when I was really sick and I thought, hey, this is it, I didn't really reach out to anybody myself. I was just a few people, and I didn't really share because I understand, when you get to that place and it's that bad, and sometimes, especially when it's a physical, feeling of illness, you just don't have the energy. So I just think it's so important. I did reach out to some key people that I knew I could count on. And, having key people is so important. Everybody needs a shoulder to lean on every now and then, especially when you're going through something like this. And if you don't have a friend or a family, get a professional. Don't try to do this all alone. It's not healthy. Find a healer, find a psychologist. But, in my personal opinion, I feel that healing is really great, because you want to get to the core issue and really start to release it from the root, rather than talking about it over and over and over again. You don't want to keep talking and ping-ponging that thing around. You want to start figuring out, like, okay, connecting the dots, like, where did this come from, or how did this happen? And then, like, following the trail all the way back, because there's always a trail. All right, you're always gonna find a trail. And that's why you have to be a detective of your own life. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Get so caught up in what people are doing, right? With the social media. I think it's much more fun to be a detective of your own life and figure stuff out. There's so much to figure out in life, and it's an exciting thing. I started to think about it like that. Like, I felt like a detective when I started to do the healing work, because I would have to use my intuition, my instincts, but also detect, like, where did this belief come from? And I would just start to get a sense of things, and it would just go, it was like connect the dots, do 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 do, bingo, you know. And that's what you got to do. That's why I really think self-reflection is so important, and not just when you get to crisis. I can't tell you how many times, you know, people want to book a session when they're in absolute crisis. I cannot tell you. I haven't been offering like one-off sessions, but when I was, people would just want to book and be like, my whole entire life just broke down and I need you to help heal me. And I'm like, you know what? I'll help you. I'm always willing to help, but let's be honest, it didn't take a day for this to happen. You accumulated an entire lifetime of stuff, and you've probably been avoiding this thing for your entire life, and it just broke on you because you could not hold the weight of it anymore. So let's be honest. You have to start being honest with yourself. You know, things don't just happen. There is an accumulation of how it happened, where it happened, like where was the root of the belief that started it to happen, right? And you can follow the signs. They're always there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to reflect. It's fun. It's exciting. You get to be an incredible detective of your own life, you know? And that's how we come out of these deep, dark night of the souls and breakdowns. So it's really important to reach out to people, right? You want to get support, make sure that they are able to handle it. A lot of people can't handle, you know, like deep things when they happen. They can't carry that because they have so much going on in their life. That's why, you know, reaching out to a professional is a very good idea. Someone that knows how to hold space, you know, for these shifts and changes. Sometimes even being with somebody that knows how to hold sacred space. And when you speak it out and talk it out, you are automatically transmuting it, because when that person is witnessing you and they're coming from that sacred space of witnessing, things transmute like you can't believe. So that's very important. And the intention. I've become very, very careful about who I let have sacred space for me. I didn't used to be. I was sort of, like I said, I was a connoisseur of healing modalities, and for me it was more of a curiosity as a seeker to want to just have these experiential experiences with people and to see what they brought to the table and how our synergy and chemistry could create, you know, experiences, right? So for me it was more of an experimentation. But when it comes to really deep stuff, I like to really make sure that the person knows what they are doing, because I found a lot of people don't know how to hold sacred space. It's truly a gift, okay? So that's very important to do. And then The second thing that happens is that you can go and just start shutting down, right? The nervous system, everything, it just starts to get overstressed. So what does it do? It just starts to shut down. And by doing that, it's a disservice to yourself to just clamp up, right? It's important to process, but if you're not talking to anybody and you're just internalizing it all by yourself, that can be a really dark road too. So you gotta be careful, be mindful of that. Do not, and I repeat, do not just put yourself in a corner and not talk about what's going on, because that's when people do things that they regret, when they harm themselves because they don't have an outlet. Talking is so important, sharing, communicating, being heard, and also hearing others. We're here for that, all of it. So breakdowns. If for any reason you're going through a breakdown in some area of your life, I would say, first of all, don't judge it. Don't judge it. Just say, wow, okay, this is happening. There's a need for a big shift in my life, obviously, because things are changing right now. And the more that you can be the observer and sort of be the detective of it, I think that really helps, rather than just getting so emotionally pulled in that you can't see straight, which happens every now and then. So as far as that, know that you are going to come out of it, always. And it's going to be even better when you come through on the other side. So never, never, never give up in the middle of a breakdown. Know that this is a really important time in your life. It's so important that maybe something had to stop in a certain area. Things had to shift so radically. The universe wanted to put you on a different track, that you're so important, that all of this is happening to synchronize you, align you to your divine destiny. Yeah, guess what? You have a purpose, right? And you have a divine destiny. You have a blueprint. It's easy. It's easy to get off the blueprint, right? I kept trying to get off my blueprint because I'm a rebel. I am. And I definitely wanted to run in the opposite direction of my blueprint. But there is no wrong way, okay? Meaning that no matter which way you go, you're always going to get a course correction if you're going in the opposite direction. Like me, I hit a wall, boom, right? So that was a course correction. A little bit painful, a lot painful. Maybe unnecessary, maybe necessary. But we learn so much from our pain. Unfortunately, that's just how we do it. Excuse me. So know that you are on the right path, even if it feels like you're on the wrong path. And when you're having a breakdown, it's just because you're about to have a breakthrough. So don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid. You have to have divine trust, knowing, okay, this is all happening for a great reason. And every single time I've been through what I thought was like, wow, it feels like this is falling apart or that's falling apart. It wasn't falling apart. It's just that the illusions I had about how things should be, how I should be, what I should be. The illusions that I was carrying so strongly, my identity in some way or another in relation to someone else, relation to myself, relation to my career, any of that. If it wasn't really in alignment, there would be a breakdown. And it was just an opportunity for that little ego burst to, burst. That ego to just burst right there, boom. Okay, that it couldn't survive that mini death. And when the ego gets a mini death, it hurts. Like a lot. Of course it hurts, but did I feel better afterwards? Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, even after my surgery, my explant surgery, I felt a lightness in my soul. Because it takes so much courage to go through these cathartic experiences and to face them head on. But you will never know how strong you are if you don't go through a breakdown to have a breakthrough. You have to know how strong you are, and the universe is going to show you how strong you can be. So, don't ever doubt yourself. I want to tell you that we are presented with challenges all the time, right? But it's always an opportunity. And there is this saying that a great guru had, and I heard it all the time because my parents would say it, my mom would say it, like, struggle is the essence of life. And I would get so angry about that. What? That's such a negative affirmation. Like, why would you say that? And then I understood. I really understood that in this particular, reality right here, right now, no pain, no gain in this moment, because I don't think it's going to be like that always, but in order to get to the other side of where we're going, we have to go through that confrontation within ourselves. And it's like, we want what's on the other side of that so bad. For example, look at all the racism issues that are reoccurring in our country. It's ridiculous, right? Like, wow, haven't we already gone through that before? But the shadows of the subconscious minds of people are showing up in a physical way in our reality right now, right? So we can see it, so we can feel it. You gotta feel it to heal it, right? So it is ugly. Racism is ugly. It's horrible. But I think it's coming forward in a prominent way so that we can heal it by feeling it, right? It's not about spiritual bypassing. That is the biggest, I'm not going to say it here. It's just ridiculous. Spiritual bypassing, and I just see so much of it. That's not the way to go, all right? Deal with things. Don't be afraid to look. Don't be afraid to feel. Just don't get caught up in the whirlwind of it, all right? But to acknowledge it, to see like, wow, when these big issues happen, it can feel like, wow, the world is getting worse, But no, it's really not. I'm telling you, it's not getting worse. We have to feel it to heal it collectively and personally. People run their whole entire lives being busy doing nothing, just trying to run and escape whatever it is that's on their trail, right? Whatever it is that they don't want to deal with, they don't want to look at, they're in total denial. And then, boom, it happens. They crash into a wall. Emotionally, energetically, physically, spiritually, whatever that is, financially. Because the universe won't support that. There's a time where your soul says, no, you have to deal with this. Sorry, you can't keep running. You gotta look at this. There's a message here for you. Will you take a moment? And there's something so wise that my brother once told me about pain. And he's like, you can't run from pain. You can't. You can try to cover it up all the time, but it's gonna be there. So sometimes, that feeling of pain, sometimes it just washes over you like a tsunami. And he was like, sit with it. Be with it. Don't try to busy yourself or run from it. Just like let it consume you. Like consciously saying, hey, I'm not running from this. I'm going to be with this. Whatever this is, I'm going to breathe with it. I'm going to be with this because I can't keep running. I have got to face it. I got to hunker down. And right now, I just need to surrender to this. Have you ever surrendered to pain? It's an interesting feeling to surrender to pain. I have. I took my brother's advice before. I let pain wash over me. I let the pain that was inside of me wash over me. Coming out of that little, wherever it was hidden or tucked away or shoved down. And it could feel like so overwhelming. Like, it's gonna, it could, like, this is so consuming. Is it gonna kill me? But no, it's not gonna kill you. You have to be conscious and aware of what you're doing. And if you can't do that with yourself, hire a coach, a healer, therapist to be there with you. But first you can try it. Try to breathe. The breath is so powerful. Allowing breath to come to you through the deepest depths. And I mean breathing down to your toes, breathing in. When you breathe in, you just wash it up and then breathe it out. Through your toes, it's almost like this like raking feeling, or like warm water coming all the way up. Breathing in, and then you let go. Creating space in your body through your breath. Not running, being present with the presence of your being. What a gift to be alive. My goodness, it's such a gift. It's easy to take that for granted. Sometimes we just want to beam ourselves off to another dimension. Understandable. And yet, this body, this vessel that contains you, that contains all this information, it is a gift. It's such a gift. Wow. If I only knew what a gift it was, I think we don't understand sometimes what a gift a body is, right? We learn to beat up ourselves, oh, if only you should look a little bit like this or that or this, and it's no, this is a loner, guys. It's not a we act like this is just our body. This is a bodysuit. It's a loner. It's not really, it's yours right now, but not forever. So get over it. That's all I have to say. There are souls lined up to infinity that really want a body right now. Really want a body right now because of the shift that we're going through. Because this is such a unique time to be alive. Unlike any other time. And there's so many reasons for that. It is a mystical time in history. It may look like a hot mess in some ways, right? The world itself is shifting. She is roaring out of volcanoes. She might be doing a little bit of shaking soon. She is raining and pouring and cleansing, and she's breathing. We're going through a shift, people. Internal, external. When we can start to understand, we're purging, okay? And that's what I really want to say, is that we are purging old, archaic energies of our forefathers and mothers and ancestors, and the earth is purging all the pain she has felt in her body, because she's a living being just like you and I. And not only that, just like us, she's purging lineage, wars, bloodshed, disrespect for humans to humans and animals, right? All of those imprints get downloaded into the earth. Did you know that? Every single war, every bloodshed, all the pain of that goes into her. She absorbs it. In many ways, war has been the greatest manipulation ever. Fighting things that other people make up, right? How many people get damaged through war when two leaders should sit their asses down and talk about things like real men instead of taking the blood sacrifice of many men and the pain it causes those who fall, those who get injured, those at home, those children, those wives, those families. Talk about vibration. We're all in a vibrational world. And the lower you can keep the vibration, the less you will be able to move forward in this acceleration that we're going through. So it's important to understand we're moving through heavy energies, stuff that was there long before you were, and it all goes together. It's really not separate. We're not separate. You and I could be totally different lives, totally different people, but we're still one because we're connected in the cosmic grid, right? We're in this particular reality together, all of us. So we're all participating together. We're all brothers and sisters in this. And we can't blame everyone for everything. We have to take responsibility for our own particular ability to release and purge, aka having a breakdown, purging, releasing, letting go, surrendering, renewing, restoring, refreshed and evolved. Break through. There's a breakthrough. A big, fat, juicy, delicious breakthrough on the other side of any breakdown. So please don't be afraid when you're in the middle of what may feel like your world falling into pieces and falling apart. Everyone goes through that. I don't care who you think you are. Everyone does, okay? Everyone. It's called this human experience. Even if you're not totally human. And none of us really are totally human. We're all hybrids of some kind, one way or another. So love the process. And again, don't try to do this all alone. If you need to reach out to somebody, reach out. Please. Nothing is worth ever taking your life. It's ridiculous, and also it doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, karmically, you're gonna have to go through that experience again anyways. It's just gonna be like a reset. So you might as well just deal with things now, alright? So much better. Courage. It takes courage to be alive, right? It takes courage. You have courage. My dog. Oh, you have so much courage. I have courage. We have courage. We have enough courage to be here. This is a time where it would take a lot of courage, because things are going to continue to shift and change on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level, in this earthly plane, on the physical plane of our actual Mother Gaia, and especially internally. And I can tell you one thing, the more we stabilize inside, the more stable things will be on the outside. All right? So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. And I really enjoyed spending time with you. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Galactic Goddess Podcast. Again, I am your host, Radhaa Nilia, and it's always a pleasure to connect with you. Sending so much love.